So today's session is really an elementary or a starting point for getting a handle on this wonderful professional networking platform called LinkedIn. So I'm going to be covering a range of topics to sort of get you started if you're not familiar with the platform and you want to know a little bit more about how to use it. Now, I'm going to ask you all if you can just, I'm just going to play a little game now. If you could all just put your hand up, you'll be able to raise your hand and that you can see the icon in the top bar. So if everybody who's in the room can just pop your hand up, that'd be great. Everybody put their hand up. Okay, so I'm going to run a little quiz. I can see that several people don't have their hands up. So if you could, please put your hand up if you want to play the quiz game. All right, you'll find the icon at the top of the page. I'm just wondering, Ted, some people can't hear me. It's always an issue.
I can hear you with no issue.
Hopefully everybody can hear me.
Alex, can you just confirm from your side, Alex?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Bruce Beck, you might need to have a look at some of your audio settings, possibly. Hopefully everybody else can hear me. Okay, has everybody got their hand up? I can only see 3 people who want to play the game. All right, so I'm going to run a little quiz and you might like to judge where you sit in the quiz on how LinkedIn are you. You might like to just keep a little record for yourself. So keep your hand up and then if you don't meet one of the quiz questions, just put your hand down. So just getting an idea, how many people have a LinkedIn, if you've got a LinkedIn profile, keep your hand up. So you only need to put your hand down if you don't have one of these things. So keep your hand up if you have a LinkedIn profile. If you don't, put it down. Keep your hand up. Who doesn't have, or who has a profile photograph? Do you have a profile photograph? Good. Have you customized your URL? So that's customizing the link to your profile, which you have the ability to do. Keep your hand up. Oh, I've seen a few hands going down now. Keep your hands up if you have completed the About Me section. Have you completed an About Me section? Put your hands down if you haven't thought about including relevant keywords in your profile. Okay. Put your hands down if you don't have a fully completed profile to an all-star rating. Okay. Put your hands down if you have less than 50 connections. Put your hands down if you haven't sent personalized connection requests. Okay, so that sort of gives me a bit of an idea that there's a number of people in the room that have done some things, but maybe not others, and there's still a fair way to go. So hopefully by the end of today's session, you'll be armed with a lot more information to help you start completing your profile and begin using the platform effectively. So for today's session, the learning objectives, what we'll be covering is really looking at reflecting on the importance of LinkedIn as a powerful tool, both in your career development, job search, and building professional networks. We'll also be looking at how to develop an effective professional profile that reflects your professional brand and identity, how you want to be seen by the world, and also to identify some of the key features of the LinkedIn platform to support building your professional networks. Now, keeping in mind, this is sort of a level 1 session for learning LinkedIn. And we do run advanced sessions. So once you've got the hang of this, then please, at some later stage, you might like to attend one of our LinkedIn Advanced leveraging LinkedIn sessions, which will take a lot more focus on actually how to use the platform and become familiar with a lot of the different functions. So let's talk about LinkedIn a little bit. It's really quite amazing. It's the world's largest professional networking platform. It was established in 2003 and acquired by Microsoft in 2016. Forget this, $26.2 billion. Bill Gates is the most followed person on LinkedIn, followed in second place by Richard Branson. Google is the most followed organisation on LinkedIn, and almost 60% of LinkedIn users are between the ages of 25 and 35, and that is those who are really starting and growing their careers. 56% of users identify as men, and interestingly, millennials make up over 59% of LinkedIn's user base. So it's an online directory of individual professionals and organisations, which is really handy for learning how to navigate and finding opportunities. It facilitates professional networking. It is a tool to support your networking activities. And 90% of recruiters use LinkedIn weekly to source staff. So that's really important to know in ways that you can get their attention. And 80% of recruiters, hiring managers, 87% of recruiters and hiring managers use LinkedIn to actually evaluate candidates. And I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. So leading on from that, knowing that, the platform is really used a lot by recruiters and people looking for jobs and looking for their next opportunity, reflecting on, the fact that social media has really changed the way that we interact, and I'm sure we've all sort of reflected on that. Have you Googled your name recently? Has anybody Googled their name recently, and what have you found? So that's an interesting thing if you haven't done that, to have a look to see what information is out there publicly available about you, because that is what potential employers will do. So, how is this sort of gauged? How, if people Google your name, what will they find? And so people form impressions about you by the information that they can find online. So it's really gauged by, your conduct, by the things that you say and you post online, and by the things others say about you. And polls indicate that a majority of employers will check out your digital footprint online on sites like LinkedIn when considering hiring you. If you have a fully optimized and complete LinkedIn profile, that is going to come up first in search engine optimization. So your LinkedIn profile will appear first. And many employers have decided not to hire based on what they see. So they might see negative things about you online. So really thinking about how you're being gauged or perceived about you online. So be careful if you have other social media profiles, that you should have them pretty locked down. So just a really important thing to consider. A little bit about personal branding. Now, this term relates to really how you are seen by people in the world, in the online space. What do you want, and also in the personal space? It's really thinking about it in terms of, what do you want to be known for? Personal branding is really about what you say and do, and how people feel or remember you, your brand. So really thinking about branding in a broader sense, what comes to mind when I say certain, if you think of big brands like, let's say, Apple, for example, everybody gets a particular image in their mind of what Apple actually represents, or even people like Donald Trump or the Kardashians, or famous chefs like Jamie Oliver. So it's really how you're being perceived by others. So and you have some control over that and how people will feel and remember you. So needing to consider that when you are building your profile and also when you're interacting online on the platform. So how is LinkedIn different, a LinkedIn profile different to a resume? Now, the key thing here about LinkedIn is not that you fill in your profile and it's all finished and you just slap it up and you leave it there. There's quite a big difference too in the depth and the level of specificity, or compared to a tailored resume is tailored for a single opportunity, whereas a LinkedIn profile should really speak to all potential employers. Get specific with each position on your profile, and you have the opportunity to add and include a lot of additional details, including your accomplishments, awards, skills, your special presentations, projects, and things that you're getting involved in, events that you're going to, issues that you're interested in. So it's a living, breathing platform rather than a fairly static, tailored document that is not changing with time. Your personality too, allows recruiters to actively seek you out and sort of you can add skills and experience as you keep moving through your career, and importantly show them your unique path and your personality. Your profile summary should truly set you apart. So we'll be talking a little bit more as we go through about how to actually do that. So why have a LinkedIn profile? As busy as we are throughout the year with work and study, etc., LinkedIn is actually a brilliant way to use your time and can be managed in short periods of time. It doesn't take a long time to keep maintaining your profile. So here are some of the key benefits of having a LinkedIn profile and then learning how to leverage it. It allows people to find you. It allows you to control your online presence. It helps keep you current and allows you to maintain your online brand. You can use it to research career pathways, and that's one of my favourite things I like to do with students who are trying to navigate their way onto their desired career direction. Find and reconnect with colleagues, classmates, family, etc. You can do a lot of research, right? And also to you can use it to network with current and ex-colleagues, etc. And find job opportunities and communicate with potential clients and employers. So a whole lot of benefits there to help you with your career. Okay, so let's get started now. Please, nobody's got their hand up. Has anybody got any potential questions at this point before I move on? I can't see anything there in the chat. Right, so feel free to put your hand up or put your questions in the chat. So I'm going to, let's start now by looking at, okay, what are the key points in actually creating a really good LinkedIn profile? Okay, so this is a summary, and I'm going to dig into different parts of this as we proceed. But really the first thing you really need is a professional, a picture, a professional picture. What I mean by that is you don't have to have get a professional photographer to take your photograph, but you do need a professional looking photograph. Right. People without photographs on their profile really aren't taken seriously at all. Pretty much you appear untrustworthy or a little bit dodgy or not really a serious player if you have no photograph on your profile. And also you're going to show up a lot more times in different people's searches if you do have a photograph on your profile. So you get around 21 times more views on your profile with a photograph than if you didn't have one. Right. The other thing is looking at, other than your photograph, you also are able to pick an appropriate photo or a banner which might reflect some of your brand or what you want to be known for in the background. Also to your headline, which is just the writing just under your name is also really quite important for search engine optimization. So really thinking about the types of keywords that you want to put in your headline. And don't worry, I'm going to work through this in more detail as we go through. Right? So that's really part of your branding and what you want to be known for. And keep in mind that you can keep changing this and working through this and as you go through your career. Right? Let's have a look at some of this in more depth. So firstly, with the photograph, select an appropriate photograph. It needs to be professional. Pick a photograph that looks like you. It needs to be you, not necessarily an avatar or a picture of your pet or something, your family, your children, etc. See if you can use a high resolution image, and make sure that your face takes up around 60% of the frame. You need to be the only person in the picture. If you smile, make sure that you're smiling in the photo, because that creates a warm feeling and approachable, right? So a nice expression, and avoid distracting backgrounds, right? So selecting an appropriate photo. You can use, with mobile phones these days, they take great photos. So have a friend to take a great headshot. So you don't necessarily have to rush out and pay for a professional photographer. If you come to some of the big events like the careers fairs that we're running, there's often a LinkedIn photo booth there as well, so you can get one of the photographers to take your photo. Claiming your unique URL. So when you are building your profile, you do have an opportunity to customize the URL link to your profile to something that's a little bit more friendly, or not just a whole lot, instead of a whole lot of web link data. So you can customize that, and it's really great to add that to your email signatures, onto job applications, etc. So there are direct links to your profile. So you do have an opportunity to do that with the as you go through and edit. You'll see the little pen icon next to the arrow there, and that's how you go about editing that. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's looking then at the headline, right? A keyword-rich headline that I mentioned before. Now the headline, LinkedIn will automatically, by default, if you don't change it, it will automatically create your headline based on your current job title and company, for example, or whatever the first entry is in under your experience. Okay, so it's important. I have seen some student profiles that they might have done some babysitting work, for example, and so then if they don't customize the headline, the first thing that will come up under your name is babysitter. And so in a professional sense, if you're trying to build towards your discipline area, you don't really want that to happen. So here's a few examples. Can you have a look? Hopefully you can see them well enough. So it really introduces you and what you can do. Now, are there any of those that you like better than others? Are there any comments? Please put them in the chat. So just looking at the taglines or the headlines under these profiles. Put your comments in the chat. Which ones do you like? Yeah, Rong Chen, yes. Should the photograph be business wear? Yes, it should. Something professional. You don't necessarily have to have a tie or that kind of thing on, but generally, thinking about what you would wear to work. Cassandra, thanks for that. You like Dooku's? Yes. It stands out from the others. Aha, excellent. So you can see here, Dooku Fore, it really sort of grabs your attention, so you can get a feel there for what value he offers and what he stands for, and some of his accomplishments. Thanks for that, Cassandra. So anybody else have any comments about the various headlines? So you can see that you can put your if you have a particular, it depends where you are in your career, of course, your current sort of position, or you can begin thinking about how you might like to customize it. I'll show you a few more examples. I prefer the more direct. Okay, Adriana, you like the more direct one. So what you're saying is, group facilitator at Headspace, that kind of thing. Of course, you're going to, build it according to who you are and what you're comfortable with, but it's an area that you do need to think carefully about, because when people search, or when talent, hunters search, they're going to be using keywords to search people, and so the headline is one area that the platform will be looking at for specific keywords. Here's a few more examples. So you can see here that we're looking at student examples. You're a mechanical engineering student at Penn Uni. The other one here, students are a social media branding specialist, social media marketing internship. So of course you can keep changing this. This is not, once you put it up there, it's stuck there forever. I quite Joshua Holmes. He put up some of his latest accomplishments. So head of GovHack Gold Coast and top 100 future leader. Now that's really quite attractive too, isn't it? To get people's attention. All right. So Adriana, can I set up my LinkedIn account using an email address other than my professional one? I'm not sure what you're meaning there. Do you want to take the microphone, Adriana? It's up to you which email address you'd like to use. All right. It really is up to you which email address that you'd like to use to set up your account. So it's not tied to the university, so it might be fortuitous to set up using your whatever your private email address is, because you won't necessarily keep your Griffith email address forever after you graduate. So there's some examples. Okay, so thinking carefully, and look, I encourage you to go out and onto LinkedIn and have a look at different people's headline statements. So do some searching to see how other people are using in your discipline area. Can be helpful too. Let's say we have somebody here as a graphic designer. What are some other graphic designers using in their headline statements to give you some clues, right? And thinking about what you want to be known for. Okay, so moving on to developing a professional summary, or the About Me section. Now, this is a section that a lot of people just skip over and they just don't fill it in, which is doing yourself a disservice, because this section is an opportunity to, once again, embed relevant keywords, but also it is almost like your digital handshake. It is like your elevator pitch, your introduction, and in this digital world that we live in, it really is quite important to introduce yourself to whoever is looking at your profile, and spending some time thinking about what you're going to write in this space. So really, and also considering relevant keywords to embed here for the search engine optimization. So really start with a strong and catchy sort of opening statement, thinking about, use role and industry relevant language. Don't forget, don't be afraid to inject some of your personality. People want to hear your story. What are you good about? What are your accomplishments? What are some of your motivations? and keep it readable. You're not writing a massive essay. I'd also encourage you to write it in first person, I, rather than in the third person, okay? And writing short paragraphs and bullet points to highlight who you are. So here is an example. So I'll just give you a little minute to have a read of that. Okay, so having a look at this particular profile, so you can see it really does introduce you to this person, what they care about, some of their accomplishments, and it really does outline some of their values as well, what they feel is important, and you sort of get a sense for who they are and what their area, level of or area of skill is. So don't skip over the About Me section. Be you, be authentic. And it's, the LinkedIn summary is the chance you have on your profile to tell your story and explain what you're made of, and get your specific points across. It's also where you can, share, as I said, share your passions, your strengths, your values, and tell viewers of your profile who you really are. It's where you detail your story, your hopes you have for your career, and a chance to put those writing skills on display. It's another way really to give your profile a little something that could showcase why a company should hire you versus someone else, and also to looking for other professionals in your field to connect with. It's they get a feel for who you are. So it's not unlike a cover letter in some ways, but it really helps to frame who you are professionally and what you can offer to a future employer. And not forgetting that talent managers and recruiters are always using the platform to search for relevant discipline-specific people. So here's I've just put together here a little summary, some useful tips to help you with the structure. So thinking about, an introductory teaser, position yourself and add some information to inspire action from your audience. Thinking about, what problems do you solve, expand on the problems to connect with your ideal employer. How do you help? So what services, skills, personal attributes? Why you? What differentiates you from others? Share any relevant certifications, awards, or achievements. You can pop some of those in there, and to what next? Where you're hoping to go, depending on framing it wherever you are in your particular career journey, and sharing it in the first person, to connect. Okay, so it takes a little while, but really, really, really important to complete this section. Okay, so talking about strengthening your profile and adding value. Now, if we're looking at now LinkedIn, as you're building your profile, LinkedIn will show you how complete your profile is on you'll be able to see that on your dashboard, whether it's you haven't finished it yet. It will suggest other areas that you can complete, but generally it sets it into like the core information that you really, really, really need. And then it has some recommended types of content that you could add, and then also additional content that you can add to build your profile to what we call an all-star standard. So paying attention to the relevant areas of your profile as you go through. But really, we'll start with the core, which is going to include things like showing off your education and training. right? So listing your current university study, highlighting your program, any relevant information, any other certifications, vocational courses that you might have completed, and fleshing out your profile, not just basic information, just thinking about how to add depth to it. You could include your majors and minors. You can think about if they're relevant to the types of jobs that you're seeking. No need to list every university course that you've ever done, but you could highlight a few subjects if they're specifically related to the roles or the industry in which you're seeking future employment. So here's an example. Ideally, what this might look like on a LinkedIn profile. So really putting in as much information as you can. Thinking about your experience, okay, the next section. So you can list past and current positions in chronological order. So the newest is always going to appear first. And really thinking about how you can include skills. Don't forget, you can also talk about projects that you've worked on. So if you've done any relevant or specific university assignments or projects, or even freelancing that you might have done, don't forget to include those as well. Here's an example, okay, just as comparing both these profile excerpts for the experience section. Okay, so the one on the left is just listing very, very basic information, right, compared to the experience section of the person on the right. Okay, so much more interesting, much more informative, presents a lot more depth about what this person has been doing and the breadth of their experience and their accomplishments. And you can also see that they've added media files. So you do have the opportunity to do that as well. And that will attract a lot more profile views, adding media. So stories make people pay attention and enliven your profile by adding media files or links to your personal blog or whatever you're doing. Decking out your work history. Okay, so thinking about that, it can include more than just paid work. You can also include work experience, internships, volunteer work, etc. Experience is experience, whether you got paid for it or not. I like to say that. Don't forget using key targeted words and be quite specific when you're writing about your story and all the things that you've done and accomplished and outcomes. What happened? What was the result of some of the things that you did? And try to use the language and skill words of the industry and employers for the jobs you're interested in. So you might need to do some research on this. So looking at the various profiles of different professionals in your field, areas or the types of jobs, so analysing job descriptions and what are the common skills that they keep asking for, employers keep asking for in your area of interest. So here's just a couple of different profile examples here of how, what kinds of information you can put in the experience section. So we have student ambassador role, some leadership activities in a student association, etc. So don't just think, oh, I've got no experience because I haven't got a job in that field yet. So really thinking about all the different things that you might have been involved in. And if you haven't been doing extra things, maybe it might be some time to think about what kinds of activities you can get involved in to start building your skill sets. So there are just some other examples of information that you could, types of information to include in your experience section. So a combination of paid and unpaid work. And don't forget, don't discount any part-time jobs that you might have too, because you do build a lot of skills through anything that you do and participate in. Now, another section too, very important, is to think about including specific skills on your LinkedIn profile. So it's a great way to showcase your abilities to other members, peers, etc. You can add up to a maximum of 50 skills to your profile. And they're really a simple and effective way of building your professional brand and engaging your network. And also keeping in mind that recruiters will be using keywords for look in, and particularly this information will be fed through the skills section. If you're not quite sure, once again, like I said, do some research, look at other profiles of others, professionals who work in your field, and analyse job descriptions and become more familiar with the particular skill sets that are highly valued in your areas of interest. Now, that's not, it's important to think about your transferable skills that you're developing that can be transferred from any internship, part-time work, group assignment work, etc., that are highly valued. Now, when you fill out your skills section, your connections, your professional network, do have the opportunity to endorse you for the skills that you have listed. And that adds weight to your profile. And so here's an example here. You can see, career development and the number next to each of those skills. Let's say that, what have we got? 57, 81, 49. They're the number of people in your network who have endorsed you to say, yes, this person is really good at this. Right? So thinking carefully about the key skills, and don't forget to put some time and effort researching this particular section. That's a very good question. I might have to come back to that one because I've never actually attempted to do that myself. But I will take that question on notice and get back to you about that. Thanks for the question. Okay. Now, the other thing too is getting recommendations. So this is also a living, breathing part of LinkedIn that's really different from a resume. On a resume, that you might have 2 referees, for example. But really important on a LinkedIn profile is collecting, appropriate recommendations from people in your network, and anybody looking at your profile, they really carry quite a bit of weight to say, when your network are actually writing you recommendations that anybody looking at your profile, including recruiters, etc., can see. So looking at collecting some recommendations, a really good way to do that is either to directly ask somebody in your network or somebody you've just finished working for, or an internship supervisor, or an academic staff member, anybody that you've come in contact and done work with, paid or unpaid, that in your network, that you could ask them directly. Or the other way is to give recommendations to others, and then you're more likely to receive recommendations on your own profiles. There are links at the end of this session. There will be links to resources. Probably one of the key resources to help you with LinkedIn, it has a help section built into the platform. So you can go to the help section to ask any kind of questions you want about LinkedIn, and really learn and getting more in-depth information about some of these topics. So really important to complete all sections. So making sure that your profile is built to 100% completed, all star, and you can see that on your dashboard. Only you can see whether you've completed all the sections on your dashboard. And if you have a fully completed it, you get significantly higher engagement and optimization from your profile. It can allow you to broaden your professional network and engage and present yourself in a professional manner. And also you do have very important is to pay attention to your settings. Like any social media platform, for example, these days it is really important to set your settings to the level that you want. Okay, I know some master's students who work in fields that are in such high demand that they have actually limited the visibility of their profiles to only people already in their existing network. Yes, you can do that because he gets so many approaches from recruiters. And they're just annoying him. An enviable situation to be in, but for most of us, people starting their degree or looking for new opportunities, that's not necessarily a good idea. So you can adjust your visibility settings. So being aware of those. So once you've got your all-star profile and you're sort of happy with that for the moment, and you filled in all the sections, don't forget to keep updating it as new things happen. It's time to start connecting. Now, some really important things about starting to connect: do not send blanket connection requests. All right, you will be prompted to do this. Don't do it. Okay, so LinkedIn will say, oh, here are some people you might know, and they'll have a little connect button. So you can, if you wanted to, you could just go connect, and just send out these blanket automated type requests to people. Now, it's really important to think about connecting with either people that you know, your fellow students. So start thinking about people you know, some of your peers, some of your academic staff, people in professional associations, relevant group members, colleagues on your will placements, people you might have worked with. Now, if you're wanting to connect with someone that you don't necessarily know, it's really important to send a personal message. So the best way to send connection requests is to go to that person's profile and send your personalized message connection request from there. All right, so here's an example of a connection request that I've received. It's a personal request. So it's somebody I met at a function, at a networking event recently. We had a chat, etc. And so this person is now following up with, oh, hi Tiana, it's really great to meet you, etc. Hopefully we'll cross paths in the future. So I've met this person, she's written me a nice message, so I'm much more likely to accept that rather than from people I've never even heard of. I don't even know these people, and why are they wanting to connect? Unless they've written me a personal message and they're giving me a reason why they'd like to connect or belong to my network. So this is where you're managing your settings comes into play, right? So you can actually see how others see your profile and network information. Right, you can pay attention to your communication settings, etc. Right, security. You can also, you do have the opportunity to use private mode, which means you can look at other people's profiles, but they won't know who's looking. All right, so you're sort of hiding yourself. But then LinkedIn will only let you do that for a certain amount of time, and then they won't let you see who's been looking at your profile. So sometimes it can actually just be of advantage to just not use private mode viewing, so that people can see that you have been looking at their profile, because sometimes they might reach out to you and say, oh wow, I saw you looking at my profile, let's have a chat. Or sometimes people who are going, I've worked with students who are going for big interview, like an interview, for example, and they know the interview panel and they're doing their homework to see information about people who they'll be meeting in their upcoming job interview, right? So really managing your settings too for emails and alerts. And so there you can see how others see your LinkedIn activity. So whether you're setting it to public viewing options or private. So have a play around with this section and make sure it's set to what you prefer depending on your your need for using LinkedIn. The other thing too in the in your managing your preferences is that you can set your preferences to job seeking preferences. So that will list on your profile around your photograph that you're open to work. And so that's really letting recruiters know, and anybody looking at your profile, that you are open to opportunities. So you can turn that on if you wish. Okay, so hopefully I haven't bamboozled you too much. I know there's a lot of information covered there. Does anyone have any particular questions or comments they'd like to make, or specific issues? Here's your opportunity. Here I am. Feel free.
I think we've got Francisco typing. Francisco, if it is easier, you can also unmute yourself.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, Tiana.
Hi, Francisco.
Thank you very much for this very nice presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice to hear that. Keeping in mind it's only sort of the broad skim introduction to the platform to get people started. There's a lot more to learn, and if you're interested, then you could also register to go to the advanced LinkedIn session, which will dig a little bit more deeper into the functions of the platform. And but at the first step you really need is to get the profile looking good.
Sure. So, when will that be? When will that be?
You can have a look on the Career Hub under the events. They'll all be scheduled, but I'm assuming they're either this week or next week.
Awesome. Right. I'll be looking out for that for sure.
Yeah, and so
no.
It's I think the title is leveraging LinkedIn. Is the second section of this topic.
All right. My question would be, if you advise, like, I have experience, but currently in a postgraduate diploma. So if it would be recommendable highlighting that under the experience section, or just keep it only in the education section.
In that, sorry, you're a bit muffled there. So you're a postgrad. You're doing a postgrad. Was that what you said?
Exactly. And I was just wondering if you would advise to put that under the experience section, or leave it in the education section.
So you're talking about your postgraduate program that you're studying?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that should go in your education section. All right. So that's part of your qualifications.
Sure.
And experience is more about type work experience, internship. You can talk about some of your projects, etc. Any previous paid positions. They don't have to be paid positions, but yeah. So really, sort of talking about your experience as opposed to your qualification.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that would give just a quick message that, I mean, that's my current sort of, what I'm doing actually, and looking out for maybe casual part-time opportunities.
On your profile, yes, but you're building a picture of yourself. So I'm not quite sure which way you're going there. Are you saying that you're doing a postgrad that's not at all related to previous experience or something like that?
No, it is related. Maybe just to emphasize that is sort of a 1 year maybe program, and looking out for working in the meantime, or after that, or opportunities after that.
Yeah, so it's really about framing your profile. So your profile is not necessarily aimed just at one kind of job. So it's really just presenting a profile of yourself and your key skills, experience, qualifications, etc. It won't, if you're looking for a part-time casual work for that's not related to your discipline, well, that's going to be a separate thing.
That sounds that sounds right. Thank you very much.
But you're wanting to present yourself as your future professional, like what you're studying for and where you're hoping to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you're just looking for like part-time work that's not necessarily discipline related at all, then it's really not going to like if you're just looking for, I don't know, just some kind of part-time retail work, hospitality work, admin, etc. It won't necessarily be specifically discipline related, but if a employer does look at your profile, they can still see who you are and what they're getting a perception of what kind of worker you are, what kind of person you are, what some of your major skill sets are. It won't necessarily preclude you from getting a job, that part-time job necessarily.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. It was appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you very much. So let me see. Thank you for your time. Oh, thank you, Cassandra. I hope it was helpful. Go back to it. Build, build, build. Don't forget, you can make appointments with career development consultants if you want someone to have a look at your profile, give you some feedback. If you want to find an internship, yes, absolutely. Yiram Chen, you can. It's really looking then about how to network with people so that you're in the right place at the right time. You might like to go to the Leveraging LinkedIn Advanced section, which will dig a little bit more into that, what networking means and how to go about that. Don't forget but LinkedIn does advertise jobs and various opportunities, usually paid jobs. But also to your networks. If you've built a good network and you need it, we're aiming for at the beginning at least 50 connections. All right. That networks do feed opportunities well. It's like, oh, hi everyone, there's this opportunity going on over here if anyone's interested. So it is another tool for that as well, but it's not the only place to look. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My internet was not working. Oh, can I change my Adriana? Was this Adriana? Has this been asked? Yes, it has. I'd love to know the answer. Can I change my email? Now, that is a very tricky question that I don't know the answer to. Hang on a minute. Yes, you can. You can. So the short answer to that is yes. So that's really just going into the settings section. So managing your email on LinkedIn, I'm going to put that in the chat. Okay, so this will go straight to the instructions. All right. I've just put a link in there, which will give you some information on adding or changing your email address. And hopefully that's answered it there. Okay. All right. So just to finish, so thank you for your feedback and coming here. We'd really love to get your feedback on the session, any ways it can be improved. So there's a very short survey there. You can use the QR code if you'd like to provide some feedback on the session or things that you areas that I could improve on. Here's a huge team of career development professionals here to help you at Griffith. with all kinds of relevant any topic. If you're looking for career resources, we have a library of valuable career planning resources on that's being housed on our SharePoint site, so you can get direct access to that. This presentation has been recorded and will be emailed to you along with the slide presentation and links to the SharePoint site for having a look at. If you need to contact us, we have staff based at Nathan and Gold Coast campuses at these addresses. And if you're an international student, my colleagues Belinda and Mooney do a lot of work in supporting strategic plans for international students, and they are actually running a whole series of really, really great sessions and panel events, etc., visa information, all kinds of stuff. So if you're an international student and you're not aware of the career series that's upcoming for international students, have a look under the events on the Career Hub and register your interest in attending. Also too, coming up is the Gold Coast Careers Fair. So there'll be lots and lots of employers on the hunt for students. So get yourself in front of them, meet them, get their names, have conversations, then send them LinkedIn requests. That would be a good idea. So have a look at that, and there's the links to register via the Career Hub. So thanks everyone for your time today. I hope you got something out of it. Don't forget there's online resources to help you, or you can make career appointments. And don't forget to, when you're ready, attend the advanced LinkedIn session on actually digging deeper on how to go about building your networks on LinkedIn and leveraging the platform for your future career. So thanks everybody. Have a great day. Hope to meet you again